Hello, hello. Some technical difficulties. Let us know if you can hear and see okay. Let's see if the volume is okay. Volume looks okay. But let me know if you can hear okay also. And also let us know if you have any internet issues, like dropping out and all that good stuff. Good. Okay. Good to hear. Let's just take a moment, sit quietly together, just to be in Satsang with one another. Let's surrender this Satsang to Swamiji. And ask for Swamiji to be present through all of this. On this satsang of devotion and absorption into higher consciousness, pure love, divine love. So an easy way to step in to devotion is that you have to put it on more of the ground level, more practical. So kind of an easier way is thinking of someone in your life that you would, kind of bend over backwards for. You would kind of lay your life down in order to protect or be there and support. So in this practice, you're trying to tap into the feeling of elevation, importance, love, connection. And then just try to imagine that energy. Maybe not so much the person, for whatever energy they represent, but whatever qualities, virtues are within you that are bubbling up to the top. You have to be willing to, again, dedicate your entire life to that principle that you want to serve. You have to be willing to, if need be, lay your life down for that truth. Sometimes laying our life down for the truth seems easier than laying our perspectives down. Sometimes being taken out of existence seems easier than being confronted on your own stuff. So consider that a laying your life down, even more important than the physical life. But your emotional and mental stances that you take, your perspectives, what life view you're trying to mold or create as your own reality to protect you and be safe. Sometimes you have to let go of that. One would argue that you would always have to let go of that in order to truly advance or evolve. But let's just look at it as though we are needing to at least relook at it. Think about it again. If you really love someone, you don't think, maybe it's valuable to meet them. You don't think like that, right? So when you're on the spiritual path and you have an idea maybe I'll get to my practices today, it means you haven't hit that level of love and devotion yet for the path, for the truth, for you don't have the aspiration yet. There's no yearning, burning desire. There's no deep longing for the truth. We all go through phases, and in the beginning, we can have a lot of what we feel to be love, but when your beloved asks you to drop different aspects of your life to move and grow, when you're asked to drop different perspectives to move and grow, drop certain beliefs in order to move and grow, you may find yourself totally unwilling to do that. So you can't grow into a deeper communion because you're unwilling to kind of sacrifice that part of yourself for higher growth and development. So we have to be willing to offer the flower of our heart, which means the thing that we value the most, we have to be able to offer. This in no way means any degree of physical death. No, we're not trying to harm anything. We never go against the law of ahimsa. But we are trying to examine what a pure love is. A pure love is just love. It's not, I love you and give me samadhi. I love you and give me a good future. I love you and, here's my wish list. I love you and, if you really love someone, you don't think about what you're going to get. If you lust for someone or desire some aspect of someone, then you think about yourself in it. So it's like an impure love. But if you truly love someone, you're not thinking about yourself. All you're doing and enjoying is loving. That's what they say for the true bhakta, for the true devotee. Love is their aim. To be in love, to be in devotion to the divine ideal is their aim, not enlightenment. That doesn't mean that enlightenment doesn't occur. It's a sign, though, that they're not looking for something. They're just looking to love. They're looking to increase their love. This is so paramount to really understand. A lot of people say they're devotees, but if the divine were to come and tell you what you need to let go of in order to grow, you might say, oh yeah, I drop it. For sure, I totally drop that and grow. If I knew it was the divine, now here's the real trick. The divine comes shaded in Maya. And now you don't know if it's the divine. So you have Maya presenting what may or may not be a pure view, what may or may not be to you, what you feel is the path because it conflicts with your views, and now you're not so sure if you're going to lay down your life and your desires for the ultimate truth because you're not so sure that it actually is, really there. It's like the story, Vishnu and Narad. I won't go through it because I think everyone who's on has heard this several times. We even did a play on it. So this kind of idea was there was these beings that were in their temple, in their city. They're all suffering and they're all crying and begging Vishnu to come help. And Narad, being the eternal bhakta of Vishnu, heard it and was so distraught. Says, look, my Lord is so compassionate. Of course he would come help you. And I don't understand. There must be some reason. But anyway, I'm going to go to Vishnu and I will convey your state, thinking maybe this is my role and I have to convey this in order to make it true. So I will do that. So he goes to Vishnu and Narad says, Lord, I've seen all of your devotees suffering and they've been calling to you for years and you've never come to them. Why is this? And he says, really? I have devotees? There. Which should say something in itself. Of course, we've all heard this story said a little bit differently, so this might have my own aspect to it. But in things that I've heard, so then, Vishnu is kind of making a comment on basically the validity of whether or not these are devotees. Are they willing to lay down everything for this, for the truth, for me, for the divine reality? And Narad was quite certain, and so he says yes. And so Vishnu says, okay, well, I will come to them, and I will manifest. So go tell them that I will manifest in this city, in this town, kind of, I think on this hill up a mountain or something. And so it's like miles away. So it was a long trek. Maybe it was even longer. I'm not actually sure. I don't remember. Maybe it was hundreds of miles away. That throws up enough doubt in most people's minds. 10 miles, I don't know, maybe I can try. We'll see. But 100 miles, oh man, I don't know. This is taking a lot for me, don't you understand? I got a job, I got things to do, I have responsibilities. I can't leave for that long. So it could very easily bring more things out. But anyway, this process unfolded. Narad went and told everyone. And I don't remember if it was everyone was interested or half of the people were interested and the other half said, what if that's not true? Then we would have wasted all this time. How about you guys go, and if he's there, if Vishnu is there, then we'll come. So you guys go first, kind of thing. That probably happened. That's such a human, faithless part. Not going to try until there's proof. It's the same actually within anyone who says they're not going to try to enlighten unless they see somebody around them that reaches enlightenment first, so they know it's a possibility. Or they want to see a story of a saint one more time, just one more story before they have been convinced that enlightenment's possible. So they're not trying until they're convinced. It's the same kind of story, it's just happening in a different arrangement. So anyway, Narad, he gets all of the people who are ready to go. And just to cut it short, we'll say that, because this can keep going, but some of the villagers come, the rest stay back, and then as they go forward, there are some jewels and gold and other precious things that come in. At each checkpoint, there are people who are saying, oh, well, I was praying to Vishnu for wealth, and here it is, I don't need Vishnu anymore. To other people saying, well, I really want Vishnu, but look at this, I can't not. Okay, you guys keep going, I'll pick up some, put it in my pockets, I'll type thing. I'll come join you later. So it's like, and then of course they'll lose track they're not going to find them. They won't reconnect. So things are becoming more important than the divine aim. Money is a good thing. Money represents a lot of things, which is why money gets used so much, because it represents comfort, it represents security. Security means not having to look at your fear. You're secure, you're buffered, you're comforted. So you don't have to embrace and feel that, part of yourself that wonders, what if I lose this? What if I run out of that? What if I don't have enough of this? Not saying that you can't work and have a job and do the things that you need to do, but for responsibility's sake, we are all supposed to be responsible. But in terms of the story, different Mayic obstacles are thrown in the way as all the seekers are going to allegedly, meet Vishnu. In the beginning, it was all like, oh yes, he's come. And then after you start going on the journey, which can take a long time to get there, and you're having all of these things manifest, and each time you're going closer to the goal, something stronger and more attractive comes that makes you not want to, like you lose sight of Vishnu, the all-pervasive reality. So then, I think when the time comes, Narad ends up, kind of with one person who made it through the gauntlet of Maya. Everyone else was cleaved off. They all were no longer a part of this journey to the divine ideal. And only one makes it through. And then, I think the story goes to the effect of kind of Vishnu asking, so where are all these devotees you were talking about? And that's the idea, is that if you want the divine to come, you better be really asking. A lot of times people fault the spiritual path or spiritual energy or a spiritual tradition or the energy of a guru, the energy of different practices. Maybe you feel like they're effective, but not that effective, like they'll liberate you. So there's this component within the human nature where we doubt things. And maybe we believe to a point, but do you believe it can bring you all the way? Do you believe, really? Do you have faith, really, that this will lead you to the divine? Do you have faith that chanting a particular mantra will bring you to the ultimate? And all the other desires and comforts in life, you can just kind of abandon in a way and focus on what you need to be doing. Now again, this is inside of the context of being self-responsible, unless you're really going to leave your home and live in the forest. If you're not choosing forest life, you have to choose job life. You have to work and make money and support where you've chosen to live, unless you choose to go be a street dweller or forest dweller, or if you're not choosing that lifestyle, then you have to choose the self-responsible lifestyle. Both are supposed to be responsible, but in different ways. So you have bills to pay, you got to pay it, basically. You have to support what it is you said you want. If you don't want it anymore and you leave, then that's one thing. But if we, continue to live in this type of setup with bills that need to be paid, then you have to coordinate your life accordingly. So then when we're wanting the divine, we have to at least have the self-responsibility things that we have to do, but, or in addition to, I shouldn't say but in addition to, we should always have our mind kind of connected to the feet of our beloved, always in a state of surrender and full prostration. Just laying our life down, laying our mind down, at the feet of the divine, laying our heart down at the feet of the divine. That's commitment. Anytime we're praying and we're, preaching love and the divine ecstasies, and then we're 2 minutes later eating ice cream or busy in a bag of chips or something like that, it's really kind of conflicting with your goal. Rare people can be in some position where maybe they're past that. Rare people. They're people who don't care whether they have one or the other. Those are not common, so just don't expect yourself to be there, or else you're going to make a very dangerous trap for yourself. The idea is to learn how to be nourished by the feet of the divine in this state of surrender. Feel the nourishment. It literally will take the prana and it will charge it. It will increase the life force. It will glow through you. It may glow through the physical, or it might glow through the emotional, it might glow through the mental, through the psychic, through the subtle counterparts in different systems or koshas. But, you know, if you have all development, you should glow everywhere. But if not, you'll have a certain type of glow, a certain type of shine to you. It just depends on, you know, which part is clean enough for it to come through. This, you know, total devotion is, you know, the first part mixed with the second part I was saying. You know, first is finding that virtuous level of love and you'll lay your life down. And the second is commitment to follow through with that. Not an emotional state. Yes, Krishna. Followed by 3 minutes later, you know, getting upset about something or frustrated or, you know, like totally losing the thought. It has to be consistent. You have to think about this with consistency. When you think of such saints like Mira and everything from her life being challenged, you know, being basically, you know, the attempt of, you know, to assassinate her. Imagine if somebody tried to assassinate you, was constantly plotting to kill you. Would you be able to maintain focus on just one goal, on Sri Krishna, or, you know, on whatever form of the divine that you're tuning to? Would you be able to truly keep that connection? So most people don't have anything near that level of stress. Our stress would be something like, yeah, my boss, you know, he or she gets mean sometimes, it really frustrates me. You know, but you don't say that, you'll just say, God, my boss. You know, you're in a totally different state of everything, heart and mind, and it's just going downhill. But you're not being like constantly threatened, you know, to be assassinated, like left and right, from your family, from your friends, from your neighbors, from, you know, from everyone who's around you, such as Mira. So, and she's, you know, composing this beautiful poetry and just in a state of, you know, divine love and bliss and intoxication, and just with her Lord Krishna. You know, like, what else is there? To be into that state of the divine reality so perfectly is what we're after. We're not after like a lazy spiritual life, you know, where we love the Lord and then 3 seconds later it's like we're not at that level anymore. Now we're just said, hey, how's it going? Nice to see you today. You know, like, you always need to be uplifted. If you see the divine everywhere, then everyone you greet, you see the divine as them, you know, through that little puppeted costume that you're interacting with. You see everything as the divine. Whether that puppet kind of costumed counterpart is supposed to look nice to you or not nice to you, you see the divine participating with you. It's like Maya pulling you left and right and asking, are you going to react, or are you going to keep worshiping the divine that you say you love so much? Which one? You know, who are you in this moment? Are you someone who can make it, or are you someone who's going to break? That is the discipline. That is how we try to cultivate that level of perfect attention and focus. So, devotion is a practical thing. It's not just airy, you know, love that's amorphous and has no tactile point. You will be tested, and will your love remain? That is going to be your own quest. If you're truly an eternal devotee, that is going to be your quest. You know, whether or not you can maintain the love no matter what. You know, so when you're kind of, it's like this, someone who really loves nature, when they're hiking through mountain region, they love going downhill and going into the valley. It's beautiful, it's fun, it's a very different feeling, and they love going uphill and getting to the top of the vista. They love both sides. If you really love nature, you're not focused on it's so hard. That means you value your own comfort more than nature. But if you really value nature more than your own comfort, you love it. It's exploration. You could care less if your legs are going to fall off. You're so tired. It's so great. so beautiful, so amazing. Like if you have that level of love for your loved one, you will do anything required in order to make them happy. So when it comes to the time where you have to choose, even if it's your life or their life, you'll choose their life, to keep on, even if it means your life no longer. You have to have that level of dedication for the divine times a gazillion. It has to be at maximum. And it's not a love for the divine and a non-love for others. The divine is everything. We don't follow a tradition where God's over there and people are here. We follow a tradition, Vedic and Vedantic tradition, where everything is God. And we are that. The self that we are, Atma, is Brahma. And we are that. We are Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. We are the totality of existence. All of us are equally the same. Not someone is and someone isn't. We all are equally the same. The question is whether or not you are experiencing it. And if you just believe that that's true for you, that can become true for you, you'll find that if you create that level of a healthy addiction to finding God no matter what, you will find. Even if you don't find at the highest level, you will find at some other levels, and that's so compelling that you can't back away. It's so beautiful, and it's so divine and inspired and just perfect and wonderful and healthy and full of well-being. So complete that everything is worth it. So if you're living in a life where you're not quite sure if the spiritual path is worth it, or the spiritual path for you is like an attachment or an addendum to your normal life, and you do it when you have time, you have to maybe reconsider really what the true wealth is in life. People always mistake true wealth being financial or object-based or relationally based or fame or status or job-based, career direction-based, connection points, people that that you have connection to, like how you can make it up the social ladder, things like that. People always get attached to that more so than God, in part because at least you have some information about those things. And God is this thing that you're taught that you can't really understand anyway, because it's so beyond the mind. So there's a lot to really consider, a lot to think about. But the one thing for the path of devotion, that is so powerful about it is that you don't care how you feel, you just love your beloved. It doesn't matter, you just love your beloved, and you're going to do your best, to not break, essentially. We don't go through it with some ignorance, thinking that we can't be broken. It's not like some arrogant, no one can break me. It's more of a, look, I know I can be shattered, but I'm going to try not to be. I'm going to try to be focused. I'm going to try to elevate myself. I'm going to try to be in a state of surrender to my, divine ideal, my Ishta Devata. I'm going to do my best. So then, when you're elevating yourself into that height of love, it's an internal and external thing, if you will. It doesn't have to be so external. Sometimes you can get into a state and you don't even know what is the external at that point. It's like it's not even there for you. Other times it may be very linked. One is on higher than the other. It's just different. So the idea of cultivating that type of devotion, a love that's so strong that it transcends time, transcends all of the forms in your life, transcends all of the objects, transcends all of the people. Transcend doesn't mean abandon, by the way. I know this is always a confusion for people. How do you love God fully? Because then you have no love left to give, so somebody might think. If God is the totality, by loving God, you love everyone and everything else in your life. And people might say, but, I don't want to have the same love for everyone. I want to have certain love for my kids, certain love for my wife or my husband, certain love for my pets, and I don't want them to mix. I want them to be their own special love. The specialness of the love will continue. So it's not that a certain type of love isn't there. It's a type. But love is love, but types can be different. Like you can love your pet as much as you possibly can, and you can love your spouse as much as you possibly can. And they're two different types of love, but it's still love. It's like a rainbow is a rainbow, so there's all these different colors, but it's still all the same rainbow. So love is love, but there's many different types, qualities of love. If you love Shiva, it's a different quality than if you love Krishna. It's a different quality than if you love Parvati or Ganesh or Hanuman or Christ or Buddha or whomever. It's a different quality. Or if you just love, like Surya or Chandra, or pick a form, never matters. But it has an effect. It does matter in the term of how it will affect you. Love is love, but the love, when you're interacting with Surya, or the sun, spiritual sun, of which the physical is a representation of really what the true luminosity is, the true Jyoti. It's this love, but it transforms you as the sun would, the light would. If you love the moon, it transforms you, and the love is the love, but it transforms you as the moon would. If you love, nature, it transforms you as nature would, according to the parts of nature you love the most. If you love a certain ideal, love is love, but it's shaping or forming you in accordance to what the divine ideal is that you are choosing to love. And even if you make it all pervasive, it's still got a quality. Because before you are nirgun, you are sagun. So before you can connect or worship with the divine beyond all form, you will absolutely be connecting to a form. Even if you say, nope, not for me, I don't want a form, I'm nirgun all the way. I'm non-dual, Advaita, I'm totally to the formless, that's my God and nothing else is. You can't do that because your mind doesn't understand what you're talking about. Your mind only understands what forms are. So when you believe in forms to that degree where you're running away from them like that, and you're saying, I only believe in the formless, that's the formless form that is opposite to the form. So you think you're in a formless reality, but that's a special little form that your mind has created that it's calling the formless, which is not the formless. And you're going to hold it out to be the divine. But what it will do is the formless that your mind creates has a tendency to suck the life out of you. It makes you feel empty. In a good meditative way too, and very clear and non-reactive, but also non-joyful. Not that happy, not that loving, not that sweet, not that kind. It's more dry and cold. So it is a good development because it's not just dry and cold, it's also non-reactive, it's super spacious, it's very clean, very clear. It has a lot of good components. I'm not knocking that as one's divine ideal. I'm just saying that if you go towards what your mind believes is nothingness, as opposite to allness, you will find more of an emptiness and a non-reactivity and good meditations and all the like. But you will be filled with the nature of love and joy and the spirit of the divine when you look to God in all forms, as all forms, or at least in a form that's in all forms, like seeing Krishna everywhere, trying to, on a little level, at least trying to take a form that you know Krishna to be and imagine it in every little atom. Imagine it in every little, molecule, every little part of the furniture, every part of the space, the air, your skin, of everyone else, trying to imagine it that way, So, anyway, that would be the devotional route, the eternal bhakta. You're trying to never lose sight of the object that you love. If the object that I love is small, like money, or like an object, pick another object, could be a car, could be a thing. It's like, it goes towards the terrain of what Swamiji always says, which is once you get it, say you do, and then what? Like you're back to where you started. Like you're still unfulfilled and you have to go find. And you can do this countless numbers of ways, but you're always going to be left with, and then what? Dissatisfied. So then when you look at finding God everywhere, and you tap into God everywhere, then you tap into God everywhere, and then you feel fulfilled. There's no more and then what? So you're fulfilled. That was the aim of life. Now you're fulfilled. Now you don't have a and then what? Now you're fulfilled and you can do whatever you want. But if you're not fulfilled, you can't just do what you want. You have to do what you're attached to that you think is going to fulfill you. You're stuck in prison trying to constantly get out by all your actions, by all your karma. But when you find God everywhere, there's no prison for you. Everything is a lovely place. Everything is beautiful and wonderful. So we're trying to polish our mind and cleanse the heart and really let that love, ramp up to the maximum level. So when we carry on now with the kind of music side of it, just visualize or don't, and you can let whatever the spirit of the song or chant or whatever it is that we do, you can let that quality come through you and speak to you and through you and try to feel it everywhere. You can use any object as your support system to find the divine. So you could just try to feel the music everywhere, inside you, outside you, as if it has always been. And in the future it will be. So it's like, for instance, here's an actual contemplation that one could do with a lovingness, because when you're amazed by it, you love it naturally. Imagine, because this is actually true, let's say that we play a song. That song has always been. And if we stop playing, the song, it still is. So it might not be appearing, but it is, and it has been, and it will be. So we're dealing in the world of appearance. Maya is the realm of appearance. Technically, even these patterns that exist and can be presented or not. You can present it or hold it back. We can present the song that already exists, or we can not. So even before we knew it, it existed. So when one taps into it, you weren't that wise. You just tapped into what the universe, developed according to however you tuned into it, and that's what's presenting itself through you. Artists will tell you that many times, that they don't feel like really they did it. They feel like it just kind of happens, that they luck out. Oh, that was amazing. So, of course they could take credit and say they're amazing. Instead of that was amazing, that I'm amazing. You can do that, but that has its own detriment. But we just learn to love just the beauty of everything as it occurs. And if you can truly find the divine in it, you can love everything as it occurs. If you can't find the divine in it, you cannot love everything as it occurs. You will be frustrated and irritated when things don't occur the way you want it to. So being an eternal devotee requires a lot of love from you, to love and be okay with everything that arises in life. That doesn't mean that we don't work to the welfare of all beings, animals, bugs, plants, nature. It's not that you accept, meaning you don't participate in a loving, helpful way. You're always going to love, and you always bring your own principles forward, like the principles of ahimsa. So you bring non-injury, non-violence. So if you see violence or injury, you bring non-violence, non-injury. You do what you can to do your part out of love for all. You're not hating the person who's causing injury. You're loving them, but you're understanding that, they're not understanding love right now as a principle. So what can I do to add this to make it, more developing in a more truthful way, more source-aligned or path-aligned, divine-aligned way. Anyway, so it's a big topic, but the main principle of today is kind of a question is easier to ask yourself. What will it take for me to get lost in my love for the divine? I could tell you all the time and give you a gazillion examples, but really what it will come down to for yourself is your own understanding from your own inner answer. So what will it take you? This can be considered through the rest of the satsang. What will it take you, specifically, what will it take you to have constant focus on the divine and feel that depth of love and enjoyment of the divine, whether you feel it near or far, just as like some idea. If you don't feel it really, then feel it as an idea. What kind of idea do you need to make God to be to love it fully? To make it so appealing. And it has to be something where you're basing it off of virtue and not off of the way that it looks or the way that it feels. It has to be off of the perfect or pure foundation that it is. It might be hard to do for some people because we need some object to hang on to, and that's fine. You can hold on to the, whatever the deity is that you like the most, how it looks. It's often how people connect to a deity. If you're, like I always say, if you're a true devotee, you love all of the manifestations of the divine. Each one is equally the divine, so it doesn't matter, feminine, masculine, animal, plant, tree, turtle, it doesn't matter to you. It's all equally the divine, and you're just amazed that this is built from that. You're just in awe. You're puzzled by it, amazed by it. It's all beautiful, no matter how it's arising, each being that's manifesting. Everyone here is being animated by the divine. Us, you, everyone, everything, all the atoms, all of the elements, everything is being, animated by the divine. That's very amazing. It's very magical. So somehow to tune into that and make it become so permanent where no matter what happens, all you see is the divine loving you. Like Swami Ram Das from Kerala, India. I'll end it on this note because it's just such a beautiful thing. He was in one town. This is after his, decades of being a sadhu. Wandering, spiritual wanderer, for anyone who doesn't know what that means. But this is a being that, reached some particular level of a height of consciousness. And he, saw God everywhere. Therefore, he was taken to be that doorway or self-identical nature of the divine. So he was at one place in a village where he was being worshipped as the divine. So he's being garlanded and being loved. And then he gets on this this train, and it was during some religious kind of issue times. And so he gets in the train and he's basically pushed off the seat and kicked, and his comment to himself was, "Oh, Ram, you love me so much. One moment you're putting a garland around my neck and doing arati to me, and the next moment you're throwing me on the ground and kicking me, blessing me with your blows." That's so beautiful to have that level of mind. There's no enemy, right? That's the eternal friend, is the divine. God is always your eternal well-wisher. So God's not trying to punish you, not trying to teach you what's wrong with you, fix yourself. Sure, we need to do that, but our own karma will teach ourselves. You go through the mess and you'll see, oh geez, when is this going to be over? Well, when the karma expends itself and when you don't make any more, that you have to go through more lessons through. But this isn't because the divine is trying to punish you. This is because you have set yourself up in a certain way, and it's going to be unfolding, and you're going to have to deal with what you have created in the past that is now going to materialize as your present moment. Wondering, why is this happening to me? I don't understand. So try to see the beauty in how everything is trying to help you. Never see an enemy. Only see how everyone's trying to help you. Even if people don't want to help you, they want to make you suffer. They want to make you have a bad day. Try to envision it differently. That ultimately they don't know themselves, which means they're a puppet of karma, puppet of Maya. They're being used by the cosmic force. They are asleep. You can't trust what they say and what they do to be truthful. It is a product of Maya, product of the sleep zone. And if you're trying to awaken, you need to get a kind of an upper edge on the dream states that are unfolding around you and understand the symbolism and understand the nature from which they all come, the divine. and therefore they're not so separate from or different from the divine. The difference is the divine knows that it's the divine, so to speak, and all of the dream nature is programmed to not know its true identity. So we all go acting like little separate characters, causing little separate dramas, and doing little separate things, and So what can we do to adjust our mind and always see, no matter what comes our way, what has and what is and what will come our way, as a part of the divine? That's the beauty of the path of devotion. Like you're not trying to, in a way, outwit anything. You're not trying to become smart. You're trying to become so simple that your mind doesn't know how to make any other comments other than God, 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 God. You don't have another mindset. It's not God and then you make up all the stories about life and Maya and everything's trying. This is all the dramas get fulfilled. Like you're just making stuff up. And you really get into that, and you're not going to get out very easily. Once you work yourself up, you're just kind of stuck in for some time, as we all notice. Once you get into something, you kind of can't get out. You're like, oh man, how did I fall trap to that? Now I can't get out of that thought, and you get stuck. It's like you got stuck in the whirlpool, and you're not coming out for some time. So how can we avoid that and be so simple-minded, where we only have one focus, one aim, which is to see everything as God. I like the word used for Shiva, Bolinath, Lord of the simple, simple-minded. That can be interpreted a lot of ways. So I'm not going to spend more time talking about that principle, but I want to relate it to this principle. So imagine, have one aim, be simple. Think of one thing only, Okay. Think of Shiva alone, only Shiva. If you want to use a different one, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But one aim, one focus. Be very simple in your mind. Don't make a lot of stories up about how this is that and this is that and this is that. It ultimately doesn't matter. Be simple-minded, super simple focused. One pointed mind, one pointed nature, one pointed goal, one pointed desire, one thing that you want. That's devotion. It's mixed with gyan, as you can see, because you need to kind of prepare your mind so it knows where it's headed. You can't just, love and not know what you're loving. You have to know something, or you don't know where to aim your affection. So you kind of have to love, or even if you make it up, it's fine, but it'll evolve over time. So anyway, many blessings to your path, and we're going to just spend the rest of this time absorbing into some love and goodness. I'm guessing a drum song. You'll have to play something first.
Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya वस्तु अमूल्य दे मेरे सतगुरु वस्तु अमूल्य दे मेरे सतगुरु कृपा करे अपनायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो जन्म जन्म के पूंजी पाए जन्म जन्म के पूंजी पाए जग में सभी को आयो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो करचे न कुते चोर न लूटे करचे न कुते चोर न लूटे दीन दीन भारत समायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो सत की नवा के वादिया सतगुरु सत की नवा के वादिया सतगुरु बाबा साकार तारायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो
Well, may the fire in your heart continue to burn and explode with love for the divine, for the path, for any aspect not only of the divine, but any aspect of the path that you have to go through to reach the divine. There is no obstacle, there is no hurdle, there is no difficulty. There is only divine help, divine aid around every corner of your life, in every event or experience. May you feel that divine support always. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat.
Just a quick little announcement before we sign off. Just a reminder, this Sunday we have the Holy Celebration with Swamiji. That, and then there was one other thing. Oh, there's no satsang actually next Wednesday.
So not one on Sunday and not one on
Right, so there's no satsang on Sunday, and because we're doing the Holy Celebration with Swamiji, and then no satsang next Wednesday because it's our 5-year anniversary. Yay! Good job.
Good job.
So we're gonna, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do, I don't know, an anniversary satsang or something. With Linus.
With Linus.
So again, thank you